Ni hao, annyeonghaseyo, konnichiwa, and hello. My name is Gina McMurray, and I am a teacher. Why am I a teacher? Because I love teaching, and I love kids. Although sometimes I teach adults too, and that's fantastic. What do I love to teach? Well, reading. Number one is reading. I love reading, and I think the greatest accomplishment in my life is teaching kids to read. It's an amazing thing to watch them go from A, B, C to I can read. It's really a miracle, and I'm grateful to be part of that process. I'm also a writer, and so I love teaching writing. It comes naturally to me. Science and ESL are also two other subjects I love to teach. I have a background in science with my biology degree, and I taught ESL in Korea, and I'm teaching online right now. So teaching is just something I do. I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I really love it, and I plan on continuing it for a long, long time because I myself am a lifelong learner. And how do you learn? You read. And how do you help other people learn? You teach. So I'm really, really enjoying this life that I have created for myself. Let me tell you a little bit about my licensing and certification. I am currently a U.S. certified teacher through the University of West Florida. I have my K through 6, that's kindergarten through 6th grade. That's elementary or primary school, depending on what country you are in. And so I can teach all subjects K through 6. I also have a 160-hour TEFL certification through Cambridge, and I received that back in 2013. I've been a classroom teacher since that time. I achieved my Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Texas in San Antonio a long time ago, but it has continued my love of science. I've always loved science, and I'll continue to love science forever. My background is in science, so I just naturally love science. I have part of my master's degree. When I earned my teaching certification, I had to take several master's levels credits. I haven't finished my master's because I think I'm going to change my focus to linguistics or writing craft. So I haven't, that's kind of on hold right now. I have received so much training and CEUs, which are continuing education credits, in the work that I've done in the progressive-minded schools that I've worked for. I have a background in PBS, which is positive behavior support, and that means I focus on the positive of what the child is doing, and I reinforce that rather than giving them negative feedback. So my classroom is a loving, compassionate, positive environment. I also have a lot of training in SEL, socio-emotional learning, and that considers that the child is a whole organism of emotions and spirit and physical and mental, and all of those different aspects make up the child, and we have to consider all of those in the classroom, not just the knowledge. They're all important. I'm very passionate about that. I also have some training in TPR, Total Physical Response, and that's basically self-taught. Because I've taught English, I've taught English language learners in other schools, not just in Korea. And I've also worked with children with autism, a little bit of spectrum, and some other socio-emotional learning disorders or issues or challenges. So you have to use a lot of TPR to help those kids learn rather than just talking at them. I have some awareness through the body training, which is basically self-explanatory. ATB helps you get in your body, own your emotions, and it helps you work through those difficult emotions. Really helpful for kids. Lots and lots of training in NVC, which is nonviolent communication. And that is also what it says. It's a compassionate way to communicate and listen and get your needs met while the other person also gets their needs met. That brings into the play of conflict resolution, which is a big part of teaching. And being part of a classroom, kids are always going to have conflict. You're going to have conflict with the kids, and it's a compassionate way to solve those problems. And most importantly, it teaches children to move forward in a way where they learn how to resolve conflict in a peaceful manner. And that's something that we all need as adults. I think you can agree. Because of my background in biology, I also like to read I like to read topics about the biochemistry and neural pathways in the brain and learn how that affects behavior and learning. I'm kind of a geek. Like I said before, I love reading and I love learning. So all of those topics that are of interest, I just kind of teach myself. So what am I doing now? Well, right now I'm currently in Australia. I'm in Perth, Australia, and I'm taking a sabbatical from classroom teaching because I want to transition into teaching online. As I mentioned, I'm a writer, but I don't want to lose my classroom skills because, like I said, I love teaching. So I want to balance writing with teaching, and teaching online enables me to do this. So I'm really excited about this transition because it's going to enable me to do the things that I love, earn an income, and then also be wherever I want to be, which is right now in Australia, and next month, New Zealand, and then possibly back to China. Or back to the States, who knows? But the doors are open, and as an online educator, the doors will stay open and I can go where I want. I can teach, set my own schedule, and write. So I'm really excited about that. Like I said, I want to retain all those skills that I mentioned before, and so that's one reason I want to remain teaching, but I want to teach online. What else? What did I do prior to taking my sabbatical? So I taught the last year and a half at an international baccalaureate school, an IB World School in Chengdu, China, which is in the province of Sichuan, right in the middle of China. It's a lovely place. And I taught there for a year and a half at this kindergarten. And I had a lot of English language learners. They were Chinese students. So we did English language learning, but then we also followed the IB curriculum, which is a very dynamic international curriculum, and it also takes into account whole child learning, and it's somewhat progressive. So it was a really good match for me, and I enjoyed working with that curriculum. I enjoyed working in an international school, and of course in China, which was a remarkable experience. My contract ended in July, and then I spent a couple of months hiking in the Tibetan areas of China before I came to Australia in September. At the end of September, I flew from China to Melbourne, Australia. Prior to that, I was teaching at a very progressive school called Integrity Academy in Austin, Texas, and that experience was one of the formative experiences of my teaching career, of my life in general, and it really helped me form my education philosophy. I was able to teach in some other schools, do some substitute teaching, and also some temporary teaching in some other progressive democratic schools like Clearview Sudbury and Whole Life Learning Center. So I was able to get a really well-rounded view of holistic and progressive ed, and I'm really grateful for that time. Like I said, that was the foundation of my education. Before that, I was in Korea teaching ESL, and while I was in Korea, I started my master's degree program to get my teaching certification. Where did this all begin? Where did my teaching career begin? Well, I've always kind of been a teacher, it seems. I just kind of fell into it by chance. I worked in the software industry and in the finance industry a long time ago. And in both of those, I ended up teaching clients, obviously about finance, and then how to manage the software assets. So I would work with small businesses, with schools, with individuals, with large companies. And I ended up doing a lot of teaching, and I found I'm really good at it. And it just kind of came natural to me. So from there, after that, I started living in the Caribbean. I lived in the Caribbean on an island, a beautiful paradise island, for about 10 years. And during that time, I got my yoga instructor certification. And then also, since I was on an island and always loving the ocean, I got my scuba diving certification. My instructor certification. So I've been teaching yoga for a long time. Since that time, it was about 2005. I mainly teach kids now and meditation and pranayama rather than a whole yoga class. And as far as scuba diving, I taught scuba diving till about 2013 until I moved from Key West, Florida to Korea. So I knew during this path of mine toward classroom teaching, I knew that I liked teaching. I knew that I was good at it. And when I became a yoga instructor and a scuba diving instructor, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And I knew in the future I would work in a classroom setting. It was just a matter of timing. So when I went to Korea, that's when it all came to fruition. And I started actively working on that goal once I made the decision to move to Korea. So that tells you a little bit about my teaching background. I've been teaching 10 plus years as in education, in yoga and scuba, finance, software. So lots and lots of teaching experience, and I've honed it, I've refined it, and I like teaching, and I think I'm a good teacher. My kids like me. They think I'm a good teacher, so it's good for everybody involved. What else can I tell you about me? I love hiking. As I mentioned, I did some hiking in the Tibetan areas of China while I lived there for 1 year and a half. Prior to that, I hiked in the mountains of North Carolina. I hiked in Korea. I love outdoor activities. So hiking, scuba diving. I've been a runner for 25 years. I love cycling. I did a lot of mountain cycling when I was in Korea. That was hard and fun. I also learned to climb there, do some casual rock climbing when I was in Korea. I got some good lessons from friends there. And I spend my time, every day I'm reading and I'm writing. So that's probably my biggest thing that I love to do. I also love to play chess. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a geek, so I love to play chess. And am I good? I don't know. I like to play, so that's all that matters. I also like to draw. I used to paint. I haven't painted in a long time. It's hard to travel around with brushes and oils, but I do like to draw. And what else? Anything involving the ocean, and obviously travel. I've been really lucky because I've lived in several countries, and I've lived in Panama. I've lived on islands in the Caribbean. I lived all over the U.S., including Hawaii. I've lived in Korea twice. I've lived in China. I've lived in Australia for the last 4 months, and traveled across Europe and parts of the Middle East, really only Turkey, a long time ago. So that's a little bit about me. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to teaching your kids, if that's why you're watching this video, or teaching at your school, if that's why you're watching this video, or teaching for your company, teaching ESL online. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and if you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe if you liked the video, and if you didn't like the video, you can subscribe too anyway. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. 안녕하세요, 자지엔, and 谢谢. My Mandarin is just very small. My Putongan is very small, but adios. Cheers from Australia.